This can be kind of educational. We got to be more precise in the words we use and how we use them. Because there's a lot of newcomers coming to this country who don't understand the language like we understand it. And they're trying to blend in with our culture, with our language, with our people. So we got to give them the opportunity to understand. Now, I'll give you a few examples. First example is take the words take and leave. We understand what take means, we understand what leave means, but let me give you a scenario why some other people might be confused by it. Let's say a newcomer coming to this country, a newly arrived immigrant. There's nothing funny about being an immigrant. We're all I guess most of us are immigrants, unless you're from the Native Americans, But we all come from, most of us come from families of immigrants. Okay, guy comes to this country with his family, and he's trying to blend in with the American people, with the culture, and we would expect him to blend in and to understand our language and be able to use it. So let's say this guy is out to dinner with his wife and some other couples. They're sitting around the table in a restaurant, and he has heard certain people use the phrase, I am going to take a... Well, let's see how I can say this. Me being coot, I think that's the word, coot as opposed to uncoot. You got to understand, my education is from the corner of Madison and Central on Chicago's west side, pre-combat zone days, okay. So I'm pretty sure there's a word coot, like I say, as opposed to uncoot. So he's trying to be coot, and he's trying to be refined because he wants to show these people that he is blending in, he's a refined person. So he announces to the table, excuse me, okay, refined person, excuse me, I am going to take this four-letter word, me being coot, I want to be careful with this, a four-letter word beginning with S and ending with T, okay? You know what I mean. So he makes it over to the washroom, bathroom, waste room. I use waste room because he's not going in there to take a bath, he's not going in there to catch some Z's, not to take a rest. Guy could sit down on the can and fall off and crack his skull. But anyway, he goes in there and does what he's supposed to do, and he comes out holding a baggie. Now he's heard the expression, he's going to take it, take a S.T, okay? So the guy comes out holding a baggie in his hand, walks over to the table where he's been sitting with these other folks and flips the bag onto the table. Now these other people are horrified by what they see. They jump up from the table, run, screaming, calling him all kinds of names. His wife even calls him a moron, a fool. Okay, but here this guy's just trying to do what's right. He could be under the impression when he heard the guy, this expression used, I'm going to take a you-know-what, that he is supposed to do it there, but then take it home with him and flip into his own toilet. I mean, the guy's just trying to be a good American, a good citizen. So that's why we got to be careful when we say take and leave. When you walk in there, okay, you walk in there with nothing in your hand, and you got to leave from there with nothing in your hand. You go in there with nothing in your hand, and leave with nothing in your hand. I don't know what's funny, but to me it seems that way. Probably not to anybody else. Okay, another scenario I'll give you about using the proper words. Back in the day, okay, and I'm talking, when I say back in the day, I'm talking back really in the day, like way back there. A scary person, an evil person, was called the boogeyman. Ooh, the boogeyman. Now you know that if you came across this boogie guy, you got to yell yikes and run like hell, okay? Because you didn't want the boogeyman to catch you, okay? And just the word boogeyman, it sounds scary, I mean, so after a number of years, my guess is, I don't have any proof of this, but my guess is that some politically correct agitators who are always looking for issues thought that this boogeyman thing cast some people in a bad way. Okay, it was used had bad connotations to it for certain groups of people or whatever. So they didn't like the word boogeyman. These are boogie agitators, let's say. So they didn't like the word boogeyman because they figured it had some sort of overtones to it. So they changed the boogeyman thing to Mr. Stranger Danger. Well, what it is they're giving some sort of respectability to this evil guy. I mean, it's not that the guy walks around with a tuxedo, he could be your butler, okay? It's Mr. Stranger Danger, a.k.a. the Boogeyman. Okay, so a newcomer, again, the new immigrants, they hear the word Mr. Stranger Danger. They don't know that he the Boogeyman also. They think maybe his first name is Stranger, last name is Danger, okay? This newly arrived immigrant could walk up to this guy and shake his hand. Oh, nice to meet you, Mr. Danger. See, he don't know that he's Mr. Stranger Danger, aka the Boogeyman, okay? So, any way you slice it or dice it, if you don't want to be sliced and diced, you come across the Boogeyman, you better get out of there. You yell yikes and run like hell, because he the Boogeyman, and he gonna get you. Okay, be careful, the Boogeyman. Forget this Mr. Stranger Danger, he the Boogeyman. Okay, here's another one that's kind of confusing, even for me it's confusing. Let's say Batman has a thing for Superwoman. Okay, what I mean by that is the Batster and Superwoman, when they're not dating, when they're not fighting crimes, the Batster is dating this Superbabe. Okay, so let's say they get married. Okay, so that means that Superwoman now becomes Superman. Okay, Superwoman, before she got married, now marries Batman, so she becomes Superman. Okay, so let's say there's a guy being jacked up on the street in the hood. That's what they say in the hood. He's being jacked up, you know, not being robbed. He's being jacked up, you know. Okay, so somebody yells, "Call for help! Call for help!" A guy says, "Help is coming! Help is coming!" And so, who's coming? He says, "Superman is coming." So the guy that's being jacked up looks up in the sky, waiting for the Man of Steel to drop out with, you know, with the big S around him and the shorts and the cape. He doesn't see anything like that. But what he does see is his babe running down the street with a halter top and shorts. Good looking babe too. Okay, so he says, "Wait a second, I thought you said Superman's coming." "Yeah, he is coming. Superman is coming. There she is right over there." So he says, "Well, wait a second. That's not Superman." "Yeah, that's Superman." Now this guy's thinking, here's where we got to be careful. This guy's thinking that Superman, okay, the guy with the S, you know, the Man of Steel, the Man of Steel didn't like the equipment he was born with, you know, so he went for the change. Yikes. Okay, that's creepy. So, like I say, this guy thinks now that the Man of Steel went for the change. Okay. He didn't like his equipment, so, you know, nowadays people do those things, I guess. You know, not I guess, I know they do, or I think they do, I heard they do, you know. But whatever it is, that's creepy. So we got to be careful with what we say and what we and how we mean things.